Welcome to Lit Learn by Chethana Ramesh. Today, we shall study the short story, The Only American from Our Village by Arun Joshi. Arun Joshi was born in 1939. He was educated both in India as well as the USA. He wrote 4 novels and 1 short story collection. Arun Joshi was an existentialist novelist. He wrote a lot about multiculturalism, psychological realism, and also conflicts of tradition. The story has 4 main characters. Dr. Khanna is an outstanding immigrant physicist at the University of Wisconsin. Kundan Lal, who is Dr. Khanna's father, Radhe Mohan, who is an Ashtam Farosh, and Joanne, who is Dr. Khanna's wife. The story begins when Dr. Khanna visits India with his wife and 2 sons, 15 years after he had left India for higher studies. And his family is welcomed by the relatives. They have a lot of gifts for the relatives as well. It's just a formality. All of the gifts are inexpensive. However, the Gillette razors are cherished by the mothers of teenage sons. So towards the end of their trip, Joanne and the children go sightseeing. Dr. Khanna delivers his final talk at a college in his former hometown, and then the anti-climax happens when one Mr. Radhe Mohan approaches Dr. Khanna. Radhe Mohan is an Ashtam Farosh. He sells court paper in front of the district courts, and he knew Dr. Khanna's father when he was alive. Radhe Mohan's appearance reminds Dr. Khanna of his own father. And although the principal of the college tries to make him go away, he is very persistent and he continues to talk to Dr. Khanna. He then continues to talk about Dr. Khanna's father with a long monologue, and he tells him how his father used to be very proud of his son. So the Ashtam Farosh tells Dr. Khanna that his father expected him to return to the village, and when Dr. Khanna got married, he was quiet for many months. But then he started telling everybody that his son was the only American from their village. Kundan Lal used to get angry with his friends if they did not show interest in listening to him about his son. And suddenly he began to shave every day. He bought 2 new shirts for himself. He also purchased a suit for himself. And he also told his friend Ashtam Farosh that he was expecting his son to send him a ticket to visit America. So Radhe Mohan asks Dr. Khanna why he did not send a ticket to his father to visit America. At first Dr. Khanna is confused, and then he replies that he did not have the money. But we know that he was doing very well for himself, and we know that he is lying. Radhe Mohan continues to tell Dr. Khanna about Kundan Lal. He says that his father was so poor during his childhood that he couldn't even wear proper clothes or even shoes to school. And when they had to cross a stretch of sand which was very hot during the summer, Kundan Lal would scoop a handful of dark leaves and tie them with a string on his feet and then cross the sand. And if the string came off, he would jump around screaming on one foot when his friend would tie the leaves back onto his foot, and then Kundan Lal would cross the cho, and this is how he crossed it for 10 years. Radhe Mohan continues to tell Dr. Khanna that when his father fell ill, his sister came to visit him, and he had also sent a telegram asking him to visit his father. But Dr. Khanna had not come. And after he got better, he took Radhe Mohan with him and visited his old school, and on the way back, he kicked off his shoes and insisted on crossing the cho by wearing a few dark leaves on his feet. Radhe Mohan says that Kundan Lal had gone mad because he insisted on crossing the hot cho with only dark leaves on his feet, and even those leaves fell off on the way. But he crossed the whole half mile without stopping. When he reached home, he had fever. The next day, he died. After telling him the story, the Ashtam Farosh disappears into the darkness. That weekend, Dr. Khanna and his family board a plane to America. In the plane, Joanne Khanna is heard telling her husband, "You keep staring at your feet. I have been watching you for the last 2 days, and you have done nothing but stared at your feet." So the narrator ends the story by telling us that Dr. Khanna has periods of great burning in his feet, and his output of research is 0, and he is now known as the man who does nothing but stare at his feet. With that, we come to the end of the story, The Only American from Our Village by Arun Joshi.